can I go? Can I be like a,
Do it.
I don't know, concession person or something?
30, roll.
Okay.
Just stop your car on the highway and run down.
That'll make the news.
See how good those snipers are.
Hey.
All right.
And dogs.
And dogs.
And a husband.
I was going to say, what about a husband?
Okay, then. Let's call this meeting to order. 9:30, September 4th. Can people online hear me?
Yep, we can.
Excellent.
I can hear you.
Hi, Lauren. Okay. Affirmation of proper public notice.
It was properly posted.
Anybody online or in person care to make a comment at this time for audience to visitors? Anyone online? Okay, not hearing any. I'm going to move on to approve minutes of the 8/7/2024 meetings. Could I get a motion to bring this to the floor? Wade and second, Dave. Any comments, corrections? Patsy?
Under 6B, Human Resources, those applications are due September 9th.
Okay.
And then
They're on
under
the side.
number 4, I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, the motion was to approve our whole chunk request.
This way, where's the 6th? Where's the
So that's right here.
19th? Here we go.
And then say the next one again. What point?
Under 6B, number 4,
Okay.
the agenda item was the whole chunk request. And I think what we were approving was the whole chunk request, not necessarily to move
Right.
forward with the picnic, but to move forward with the whole chunk
Funding.
request.
Or yeah.
Yes.
So was the request to do the picnic or no?
That was part of the whole chunk request, but the whole chunk requests are ultimately approved by finance.
So this was just a motion to advance the request to see if it
Correct.
gets approved.
Yep.
I can update that to something, yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on our minutes? So we have a motion to approve with the changes noted. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay. County, oh wait, I'm sorry. Review of vouchers. They were emailed. Anybody have any questions about what was emailed?
And then
And then Tricia just
my,
did hers.
I just placed mine in front of you.
Okay.
Nothing out of the norm.
Did the elevator go out or something? Or just?
I know they had an inspection not that long ago, so I don't know if that was for the inspection or if there was a repair.
Sure. I was just wondering.
A while back, there was like some funny noise in there that they said was like a wheel or something that runs the doors.
Oh.
If we're just getting billed for that now. But it's been working.
Okay, not hearing any questions on vouchers. Let's move to regular business. County clerk. What's your office report? Do you have one?
Nothing new really to report. We're working fast and hard at getting the setup for the November election. We're finishing up the August stuff. September 18th is when we have to have everything out to the municipalities. Ballots aren't printed yet. They're working on it.
Okay.
That's what we're busy doing.
When does absentee ballots start?
September 19th.
Oh, okay. It's right up here.
So 18th is our deadline to get it to the municipalities because they have to start sending ballots out on the 19th. The most important of those is military and overseas.
Sure.
And then they can also start doing local ones. But there's certainly, if you think about the time, September 18th, there's a long time before November.
Right.
It's just there's a lot of the ballot layout. I mean, we're trying to make a uniform ballot and statewide, there's 141 referendums that have to be accounted for. And, so when we start thinking of layouts, each ballot will be different, of course. We won't have 140 referendums, but we're going to have 5 schools have referendums.
Really?
Wow. And 3 municipalities.
Wow.
And so it's all about getting that layout. And then the different ballots that, once again, Some municipalities will have multiple ballots because of that. Because their school districts overlap.
Oh, sure.
We can see the nice colored map.
Mhm.
So like, say Bergen, La Crosse has a referendum, DeSoto has a referendum, but Westby doesn't. So Bergen's gonna need 3 different ballots.
Westby had one this spring.
Yeah, so they're not having one this fall.
Thank God.
Anyway, full speed ahead.
Thank you.
What are some examples of the municipalities having referendums?
They're all the same. There's 3 townships that are looking to have their clerk or clerk and treasurer appointed rather than elected, which is getting more common.
We did that.
You guys are appointed? Okay. It's
Yes.
a lot more common, and that allows you to then go outside the municipality also.
Yeah.
You can get somebody from out of the town if you needed to.
As I read in that town association newsletter this spring that there were 1,800 new clerks across the state in villages, cities, and towns.
Wow.
Counties.
Yeah, I think we have, I think we have 5 or 6 that are really new,
Yeah.
relatively new.
Good job.
Thank you.
Hey, Jerry,
Yep.
I want to pause a moment and jump to agenda item E, buildings and facilities. We are not going to cover that today.
Oh.
This bill's gone, and everything can roll to next month with the exception of the RFP for the emergency management facility. Cassie and I talked, and what we're hoping is that we could, instead of having a general government special meeting and then have it go to finance, that we can go to finance's next meeting and do this agenda item from 9:30 to 10:30 on Tuesday, the 17th. Would that work for people?
I'm good.
I will be out of town.
Is Lauren on finance?
No.
No. Lauren, would that date work for you?
Yeah, excuse me, as long as we get it moving, whatever it takes to get it moving as fast as possible. I mean, it's on the agenda right now. Couldn't we just, motion to put that out?
Well, I think there's more conversation that needs to happen, and Phil's not able to be here. So I don't really feel that we just push it out.
Yeah, and it's not delaying anything. So because you'll
Okay.
need finance committee approval. And so our intent was get everybody at the table together. We can make a decision on the 17th with a recommendation then for the board on the 19th. So it's really not delaying anything this month.
Because we need the board to approve the RFP.
No, if finance, it depends on how finance wants to do it. If
Okay. Which is why we're back to us anyway.
yeah,
'cause
it's gonna wait till the 17th one way or another because of finance. So
Mary, can you make that date?
September 17th?
9:30 to,
Oh, just a minute. I might be.
Yeah, worst big.
September 17th at 9:30. I can do that.
okay.
The worst big in that.
So what time is it going to be?
September 17th at 9:30.
Okay, all right, got it. Because it have finance in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So finance and
Yeah.
Got it.
and we'll have a joint
Okay,
and we'll
Lauren,
just
you
make that
can be
the
there?
first agenda item.
I didn't know. Lauren, you can be there?
So basically just plan on attending the finance committee meeting?
Yes, but for me, it's got to be first thing because I have
Yeah.
to teach a class at 10:30.
I won't be needed, right? I'll be in court for DHS. So.
Okay, so that is our plan, and then the others can roll to our next month's meeting.
Yeah, the lease proposal with Valley Stewardship Network. I mean, we were debating whether we're going to do a lease or an MOU. I haven't received anything.
Correct.
And neither has Phil. So we, as far as discussion items, we don't have anything.
Mhm.
So that one will just have to wait.
And that will be on September county board meeting.
It's going to have to. I mean, we have no context or substance to even talk about what would be included in a lease or an MOU. there's possibility if we do, and we have a special general government meeting set aside for the 19th, if it's something, or yeah, for the 19th, but that's after board meeting. So yeah, it's going to have to wait.
Are you asking because of the ramifications for the current lease or?
No, this is more about, they're going to plant grass.
Yeah.
They need to get it in before,
Oh.
The end of October, right? If they're going to do this.
Well, if it's prairie seeding, that's typically frost seeded.
True.
In dormant ground anyway. So.
True. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Ben's on vacation, so that's causing him to.
let's go back to agenda item B, treasurer, Karen, in-rem sealed bids.
All right, hopefully you have a sheet there that has the bid amounts. So we received 2 bids on parcel 010-00545-0002. The first bid was from Ivan Bontrigger in the amount of $11,405. The second bid was from Keith Corbin in the amount of $12,400. They are both adjoining property owners.
So they're bidding for the same
Parcel. Yep. Both adjoining property owners. One did send a letter that I think
They have it.
They have,
Yep.
okay.
What was the acreage?
I believe it was 3 acres.
3 exactly. Or 3.3.
I think it's 3. I have 3 wrote down.
Okay.
This open land?
Looks like it's wooded from the letter.
Yeah.
Wooded.
Just from like a process perspective, when we evaluate these, is there anything other than the dollar amount that we evaluate?
Well, a letter.
Sure.
Well, Karen, you want to jump in?
Yep. So we have before, sometimes municipalities are interested.
Mhm.
If it's an adjoining property owner, sometimes we'll consider that. Obviously, if there's 2 adjoining property owners and one's more, I assume you take the higher bid.
Mhm.
So yeah, we do consider other things than we have in the past.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so thoughts?
This is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
They look like they're all qualifying bids. And I want to hear Alice Ann read all them numbers off.
Oh,
Wait, you're being a little nerdy, aren't you? What numbers do you want? The parcel number or do you want?
Read all the
bid
parcel
number?
numbers off.
Okay, well, I'll get to that in a moment. Do you, in terms of the parcel number that Karen just read off, what are the 2 bids you want to consider? The 11,
There are only 2 for that parcel.
right, so what out of the 2 bids?
$11,405 and $12,400 are the 2 bids.
Yes,
And the letter that is
Was from-
attached
Keith.
is a very, they put effort into it and I like how they want to use the land.
Higher bid.
And
And they have their bid.
So
Okay, motion to approve the 12,000.
Okay,
Second.
so I have Dave approving the motion to approve the bid for parcel 0100054500002 and $12,400. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Second.
You
Second. Dave motion. Second.
All right.
Karen?
Yep. So the second parcel is 146-00324-0000. The minimum bid was $2,275.80. I received 1 bid for $2,300.99 from a Robert Danielson, and he is an adjoining property owner.
99 cents, huh?
how much is that land?
That one was just a very small parcel, 0.2, I'm sorry. Yes, 0.20.
2 cents.
Yeah, like 2 blocks.
And it's like I think it's in the floodplain and it's wooded. So, if it's adjoining him, I can see why he'd want it and probably nobody else.
Yeah. I move that we approve.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Dave? Any more discussion on that? So we have a motion to approve parcel 146-003-240000 and for the amount of $2,300.99. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So then we have 3 more bids. Yeah.
Just a quick question. Is there a need to include cents in our minimum bids and accepted bids? Can we just accept bids and whole dollar amounts?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we,
Yeah, it seems silly.
Yeah. Well-
It's not the Price is Right, like closest without going over.
so some of those were either
Formula.
60% of the assessed value, or
Okay.
it could have been expenses to date, and that's just the dollars that
Sure,
they use.
sure.
So we've kind of tried to stay somewhat consistent with that,
That makes
not
sense.
always necessarily.
Let's make a deal. It's kind of fun though.
I just, if we could round.
So, yeah, Karen, maybe it's not just value, like to your
Mhm.
point, it's back tax, it's other things.
Actual cost.
Actual cost.
Right.
Okay. For him? Dave has stepped away from the table.
Probably worth it. There it is.
Probably is.
That's so neat.
Might be.
Yeah, it is. I'm just pretty cool.
Well, we could at least further the we have 3 bids on the table, or 3
But his land's.
3 properties with no.
properties with no bids.
Mhm.
Karen's getting caught up.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We have 3 properties with no bids.
Yes, I'm
So
sorry.
what do we do now?
Okay, so we have to get new minimum bids for these because we didn't meet the minimum bid, so I can kind of just go through those. I did put the, if you look at the bottom, that's kind of where we started,
Mhm.
and where we came up with those. So like, if you look at the first one that we're looking at, 112-00117-0000, we started at $34,200, which was 60% of the assessed value. That is a old trailer that most likely would, I believe, should be removed from the property. So there's going to be all that expense to remove everything that's on that property. So to me, it's basically a lot. So I guess it's up to you guys how you want to proceed. I think at this point we could do $1 if wanted.
Correct.
So it's, how big is the property?
Yeah, yes.
How big is the property?
It's a small lot in Coon Valley.
Oh, and this is a trailer park?
No,
No.
it's actually not a trailer park, but it's a trailer on a lot in Coon Valley.
Mm.
And there's just a lot of garbage. I think the floors, from what I know, are rotted. From what I've heard from everybody, it needs to be removed. So that's a huge expense for somebody to remove a whole trailer off of a property. So when you think of the assessed value, sure, if it was kept in great condition,
Mhm.
that bid probably would have been met. But if it's something where you're having to remove something, then you have to consider what is a lot worth, plus, possibly a $10,000 roughly removal of a building.
The assessed land value without the improvement on it?
Yep, it's on there.
The land,
The land
That's the
value.
fair market value. I was gonna do that moving forward. I don't have that handy, but I can get it.
It'd be on the GIS, right?
Yeah,
I can try to
yep,
pull it up
yep,
now.
yep.
Mhm.
So I have a question. Expenses to date, that is what we have into this right now.
So yes, and that does include my $1,500 admin fee and a $300 fee that we add to that property when we do like the title searches and all that stuff. So you can consider 1,800 of it just kind of admin fee.
Administrative.
Our website's still down. It was down earlier this
Oh, it
morning
is.
too. Yeah.
Did we receive any bids?
Nope. The next 3 properties, we received no bids.
Okay.
And you guys remember, you as the body tasked with this can be and are the appraiser. You can set that appraised value at 0 all the way up where you deem reasonable.
In this Clayton Weber one, there isn't any land adjoining person that
Not for that price. It's a tiny little sliver. I mean, it's tiny. I don't even, I guess just to join your property and get rid of it, but
Mhm.
basically to get it back on the tax roll, that's its only purpose. I mean, I probably have a map of it if you want to see it. And actually,
Landlocked, so it's.
I look at, what are we looking at now?
Where are we at here?
We're looking
At this
about-
trailer one that there were, these last three here have no bed.
No, I probably have
And this one has to have a trailer removed then.
here we go.
We're not really looking to recoup our.
The land is 13.9. And the improvements are 43.1 and the total assessed is 57.
On the Coon Valley law.
Mhm.
So would it make sense in this situation to, like a $10,000 minimum bid to cover our expenses based more or less the value of the lot?
Well, that makes sense to me. Or at least, yeah, at least. But yes, and then if you look at the other two, I think we tried that and that didn't.
Right. It seems like we're going to take a hit on those.
Yeah.
Just because of the incredibly low assessed value.
Just a reminder, we do not get proceeds. We would only get what we're entitled to. So
So I
If
would
we
just
want-
say, just do expenses on that trailer.
Right. I
Not
think
even
that's
make
what-
it 10,000, just do 8,000, whatever, just to cover our expenses.
So when you say we do not get proceeds, whatever goes above and beyond our expenses goes where?
to the
To the
owner.
owner.
To the owner who loved
Yep,
us.
the last.
Right.
Is it possible, and this might be more of a Nikki question, if we end up, so that property, we're having some issues right now, and if the county ends up having to clean it up, we could have additional expenses that,
Yeah, or we can sit on it in a messy state and try to sell it as is for super low, knowing that that's what we're doing, like
Yeah.
trade off there.
Was this
Connor
the
helped us pull up
place?
the
land value?
land values 13.9. 13.9 for it.
What if we just let somebody get it for $1 and let them deal with it? But they got to clean it up.
And you see many examples of municipalities going that route. It's,
It'll bring what it'll bring. Obviously, there's
Mhm.
people interested in it, but it is going to take a big amount of cleanup on that property. So it's going to be a big expense for somebody. And
So,
I'm
and
sure the
losing-
village would appreciate just having it.
Yeah.
And you're fine losing your administrative fee and all that in this exchange.
I mean, I think so. Do you have any, I mean, you're
Could we
involved
say-
a little bit.
In contingent that you have to clean this up. They can't just buy and let it.
I don't think you can do that.
I think everybody that's bidding on it, from what I know from talking with these bidders, they all want to clean it up. None of them want to leave it as is because it's not livable.
Oh,
Most
there's,
people, it's not livable.
there's some people that are interested in it.
They're interested, but not at the price we had for the minimum bid.
Got
And it
it.
didn't make sense. I mean, I
Yeah.
told them I would hold off and wait until we get a new minimum bid set because
And technically, you can technically sell something with strings attached like that. You rarely see it in this kind of context.
Okay. I mean, if I was a landowner, I would like to make sure that it got cleaned up next to me.
Mhm.
You know, I don't care what it goes for, just get the thing cleaned up.
Trying to get your expenses.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is it,
I'm just wondering if the lot would be worth that much. That's my only take on it. And it is kind of, it's been kind of a pain for the county owning this right now. So
Okay.
I'm just telling you guys that just for your
You can always-
information.
Lower the price again if it doesn't sell.
True.
But we're
Yeah.
getting into winter.
What, it's been a pain for the county in other ways?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
There's concerns for a few, Treasurer's Department has had issues with it and gets calls. Health Department for nuisance abatement issues. And I've had some confidential DHS matters arise from there as well. And then I'm aware of the village having ordinance violation issues arise from the location as well. We have, as a result of all of those needs or issues, we have an eviction hearing on the matter that I just got scheduled with the court this morning, actually, for later this month for the eviction part of this.
There's somebody living in it?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yes. Right. So we're in the process of giving the boot. They've been on the notice that they're entitled to, and we're just working through that process. Wisconsin grants tenants, including squatters, pretty broad rights. So we got to follow a certain process, but we're in the middle of that process now.
It sounds
Thank
like a
you,
big
Laura.
hairball mess.
I saw your hand up, Lauren.
I would like to see it all go out for $1, get it back on the tax roll.
Get it cleaned up and get rid
Get
of
it
the heck.
cleaned up. Yeah,
Is that a motion?
that's a motion.
Second.
Dave has a second. Okay, I have a motion and a second for parcel 11200117000 to change the minimum bid to $1. Is that the right motion? Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion about that?
Can I just add a little
Yes.
opinion on that? That I think that that motion is consistent with the spirit of your guys' in rem ordinance, which, to use Lauren's words exactly, get it back on the tax roll is the primary goal of these sales. So that would be consistent with the spirit of the ordinance to go that route.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion on that?
I had one question. I didn't know there was somebody living in it. Does the county have some obligation to have it vacant before we can sell it?
No. That's part of that as is, but that's part of the communications that we have with those bidders, and particularly if one is awarded the bid, they're going to be aware of that. There's also, as part of the evictions process, a list pendants that goes on the property that alerts everyone that we're working through this eviction process right now too.
So how do you get rid of squatters?
Eviction. And so first they're entitled to a notice. That notice, the substance of it, the timing of it is dependent on what kind of tenant the law defines them as. And then once you give the adequate statutory notice, then you can commence with an action in court. It's a type of small claims action, an eviction action is, and you cannot ask sheriff to go and give them the boot physically until you've got an eviction order and a writ from the court.
Okay.
So even though it's lawfully ours and we know this, there's that process.
I know.
Time frame, roughly a couple months. It's dependent on when you can get into court and then when you get that writ and when they act upon that writ. But the court very kindly in this particular case set it off calendar for us. It was going to be a 6-week wait to get that court hearing. So we've got the court hearing in a couple weeks. That gives me enough time to give the notice of the court hearing, which they're also entitled to, for 5 days, excluding weekends and holidays. They get a 5-day notice of the court hearing served personally on them before the eviction hearing. We have the eviction hearing, we get our order, sheriff acts on that.
Okay, I think I have a motion and a second. All in favor of that dollar minimum bid, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now we're going to go to parcel 0220084100003.
No, 01201049000.
Oh,
You skipped one.
You skipped one.
skipped one.
So the minimum bid was $2,243.17. That was based on the expenses to date on that. Again, with those admin fees on there. So that's where majority of that comes in. The only two people that could actually bid on this are adjoining property owners. And if you can see on this little map, this is what they're bidding on. So I don't think anybody's going to give too much money for that. Just so you guys can see it.
It's a fence line, essentially.
So, the assessed value is $100 and fair market is $2.
How did a piece of land ever get like that?
So he passed away, and I believe what happened is it was meant to go with something and that got left off the deed. So those things happen all the time where people sell things and a little tiny sliver is left off and they think it's included and it's not.
So on the deed, who thought it was included?
ages ago, the prior owner conveyed it and they left off in their legal description a little portion, and that was that sliver. Which is why
That's what I'm
you don't
guessing.
just cut and paste legal descriptions when you're conveying land. Get that survey.
It's pretty common.
It is.
Yeah, that does happen. In fact, I have another one that it's the same thing. The owners don't want it. They thought they sold it all and they came in and they're like, hey, quit sending me these notices. And I'm like, hey, you haven't paid. And they're like, we aren't gonna. We thought we had already sold it. And I'm like, they're like, just take it then. I was like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
Okay, anyone have a direction they want to go?
Is there any way you can say to the people that bought the land that thought it was included, would you like to buy this for $1?
This person's deceased. So in that situation, negative.
Oh, Clayton?
Yes, Clayton's deceased. Is that
Right.
what you're talking about? Or
Well, either one of these, they're both kind of, so who bought Clayton's land? I mean, I knew Clayton. Yes, I know he's deceased in
I
here.
think he gifted some of his property to somebody, I believe. But this didn't get included.
So can we just say, would you like to take it over?
You mean the person that he gifted the rest of it to? I mean, it really should only be these two property owners because this is adjoining. You can't sell it to either one.
Oh, God.
So, and I don't think I don't know how this got separated, to be honest. I don't know. But anyways, so I think that the person that he gifted his land to was a house. But I'm not
And
sure.
neither of those adjoining really care.
One of the adjoining property owners wants it,
Oh,
but he didn't want it for that price because it's a tiny sliver of land. I mean, and again, only two people can actually get that property.
right.
Mhm.
So could we say, offer us something?
I think
Just
we
put
could
$1 on
say
there.
Put the $200. My thought is do the $200 fair market value.
600 fair market.
Two.
Oh, two.
2 is the assessed.
You're
The
down.
difference.
You're doing what I'm doing. They're in
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
order down here.
Gotcha.
I mean, it sounds to me like it was an honest mistake and then nobody else can have it. They're not gonna want to pay it. So,
What do we do? 60% of? Is that what we've been doing?
I mean, we've done a little bit of everything, so I think to just get it on the tax roll and get it taken care of, it's up to you guys, but
Yeah, I mean,
if
just-
nobody bids on it for $100 or $200, then we're back to
Right.
putting bids out again.
and we just set a minimum bid on a property worth a lot more at $1, you know?
Right.
Or-
Okay. I what do you want?
I would say just set them,
this along.
I would say set them both at $1. Get it over with.
that's what I'm thinking. I mean, one's landlocked and the other is just like, it was an error at some point.
Okay.
I think you got a second from Lauren. That was indeed a motion. Wait.
Formally move.
Okay, so Wade has made a motion to set the parcel 012010490000 for $1, and Lauren is a second. Yes, I
Correct.
think that I heard
Yep.
that. Dave has something to say.
Well, okay, there's two neighbors that'll probably bid $1. So who gets the land?
I guess someone maybe has to bid $2 then.
Where'd you flip it
Or
for?
$1.99.
Or that they bid different bids.
Or they start going up a little bit if they want it.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna set it that, but if they want it,
Right.
I would guess they're probably listening to this conversation, so
I have no idea.
I don't know if they were smart enough.
Okay, are we ready to, I think I'm ready to, what am I ready to do? All in favor of that motion signify by aye.
All right.
Aye, any opposed? Great. Okay, now we're to the final parcel.
Same deal.
Yeah.
You guys want to do the same thing on the final parcel?
So a motion.
Okay, so I have a motion on parcel 0220084100003. $1, minimum bid of $1 by Lawler, second by Egan.
Henry Egan.
Oh, sorry. Wait.
Mary beat me to it.
Henry.
Mayor,
Egan.
okay. Any more discussion on that? All in favor signify by aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That really challenged me today.
Can I ask a question? on
Yes.
that? So, why, if that assessed value on that property was $200, why did he set the minimum bid in April at 8,000?
On which one?
The last.
Because
one
those
was
were the
before that.
expenses.
But
No,
not,
expenses
But they
to date are
were-
2,257.20.
You're looking at 022. They're in a separate order. So 8,000 was the minimum bid. And actually, they just said, let's shoot it at 8,000 because they thought that that's what it was worth.
Okay.
Yep. So it didn't have anything to do with 60% or,
2 acres, I think. That's what.
Yeah.
no, maybe it was 2. I'm sorry. I can tell you. Oh, it is 2 acres. Sorry.
Okay. Here we go to, I think we're done. Treasurer, correct?
Yep. Thanks.
you.
Plan. All right, agenda item C, human resources, pre-employment drug screening for county employees. Cassie or Tricia, who's taking this one?
I can start. Sure. So, we brought this up last month to see, how the committee was feeling about it. Everyone's pretty much in favor of it. We did take it to our department head meeting, to find out, if we had any department specific issues that we needed to be aware of. There was not any pushback from department heads about eliminating the pre-employment drug screening. Obviously, we will continue that for those positions that require it. So we'll continue to do it to the sheriff's office, and then for the highway for the DOT requirement. But pretty much for all of our other positions, we're going to eliminate, or we're proposing to eliminate that pre-employment drug screening.
And so that's what's highlighted in our packet.
That's what's
what you
highlighted
want to remove.
There, yep, and then there is, I did miss in 1.1, there's a section that says is applying for a position, so we would, eliminate that.
Well, do you need to eliminate that? That just says they're subject to the drug and alcohol free workplace policy. So if you eliminate the pre-employment testing, you need to eliminate that section in 1.1.
Yeah, that's true. It's not specifically calling out a drug testing.
Right, that's just the overall
That's true.
policy.
That should be all right.
It's true, that's why I didn't highlight it the first time.
From 4.1, then just be reworded that you were going to continue with the sheriff and the DOT. I mean, I guess you aren't saying which ones you are going to require pre-employment. Do you have that, or can we put that in writing?
So we could add,
Unless,
pre-employment, testing is required for sheriff's department and the highway, in that section. Is that what we were anticipating there, Tricia?
Mhm.
Well, it does, oh, never mind, that's random.
I'm only saying if you're going to say like, we're
Yeah.
going to still continue to require it for those positions that require it, we should say that.
Yeah.
Although is that included in, I'm assuming it's included in the job postings for those.
It is, and in their job descriptions as well,
Right.
but we could certainly call it out in our policy. I don't anticipate that changing ever.
Right.
And then 6.2, the nursing and dietary staff at Vernon Manor will be subject to random drug and alcohol screens. We couldn't find any evidence that that's required by the state. And then in speaking with our new interim administrator at the nursing home, he confirmed that. And we are not currently randomly drug testing the nursing and dietary staff. So we felt comfortable with eliminating that.
So what if you had a situation that you thought somebody?
That falls under the reasonable suspicion,
Okay, okay.
which we're,
Yeah, that's not changing at all.
that's gonna stay.
Yeah, okay. Still keep 5, but the 6 random is only the DOTs.
Which is required.
Mhm.
Okay. So you want to add a sentence in pre-employment testing to call out who does need it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Somehow address that. in
Yeah,
4.1.
Okay. So can I get a motion to accept the new policy with the changes we discussed? Dave, and a second, Wade. Any more discussion about that? All right, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think Lauren was an aye.
Second to.
I was denied.
Lawler.
No, I just want to write down what it, so I'll get with you before we Go to the county.
Okay, thank you. And now we're moving on to review and approve insurance proposals for 2025, which we have in front of us from Quartz.
Pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
really. The numbers are in front of you. All of our other insurance premiums are staying the same, remaining the same. The only difference would be with Quartz, and it is decreasing by 5%.
That's on.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that go into that. You know, they assess our medical loss ratio, and that looks pretty good. And then we do utilize the neighborhood family clinic, and so that keeps some claims away from our courts. And so that helps keep that medical loss ratio low. So, yeah, we were very happy with the decrease.
Tricia, you said all of our other insurance premiums will stay the same.
Yeah, so dental, vision,
Okay.
Hartford, obviously those aren't employer paid anyways, except for the life insurance. But just, it's not impacting the employees in any way.
Gotcha.
I can say, and since employment of 1984, never have had ever heard of a
Of a
premium bonus.
decrease.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think we should bargain for more.
No, but it just shows that neighborhood clinic is making a significant impact and
Yeah.
people using it. So thank you employees for using it.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Mhm.
We will be coming to this committee sometime this fall with the neighborhood family clinic with a list of services. So we've had some issues arise where we have employees attempting to use it for things that they really shouldn't be utilizing the neighborhood family clinic for, like genetic testing. Like we've gotten calls that like, will you approve this $2,500 genetic test through neighborhood family clinic? And it's like, really, that's not the intent of that service. That should be running through our regular insurance. And so what we'll bring to you is basically a list of services that this committee will approve, and that will be communicated out to the employees as well. So everyone's clear about what's covered there.
Could they do genetic testing there to see what people are doing it for cancer?
Yes, and they would send it out. I mean, it's not in-house, but yes.
Okay, so that'll be an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
So is it
'Cause the
cheaper there
county-
though versus courts or?
for the employee, but the county then covers that entire bill.
Mhm.
And
So it
courts would
comes out of
cover
our
Yeah.
some of it?
money.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, and I think if people understand that, that makes sense.
Well, I think, well, I mean, I have thoughts on that, but we'll save it for an agenda item.
Lauren.
Lauren?
How much, as far as our budget goes, did we plan on spending over there as compared to what we actually did spend at the neighborhood clinic?
We're still in it.
75,000 was the budgeted amount, and currently we're at 38,502.
Oh, that's super.
That is.
Mhm.
Thank
I'm
you.
just really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the monthly premium for courts, you know, between the two plans is close to $300,000, you know, and we're saving 5% on that this year, in part because of that 38,000 outlay. So
Probably not in part, probably.
mostly,
because-
yeah.
That, and I bet some major medical things have fallen off the plan.
Yeah, right.
Right, which you can never,
We can't predict.
you can't predict.
Okay, so you need a motion from us to approve the court's renewal.
Do we have renewal of all of them?
Just one.
The rest
Renewing courts.
Yeah, the other two were 2-year.
We don't have to
rate guarantees.
And it's two separate plans, low and high deductible essentially, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, do I get a motion to approve?
I approve.
Mary, and a second?
Motion.
I'll second.
Wade? All in favor, signify by aye.
Right.
Aye. Any opposed?
You know, just on a side note, I had to purchase my own insurance this last year. First time ever. And I have courts and my premium went down
Oh,
like 80 some dollars for the same coverage.
So you're saying we shouldn't feel special?
No, I think it's special, but I'm just very happy with court.
But
Must be because you kick that drum.
Very interesting, because
I don't really,
brokers have been pushing all across the board,
nothing.
current and ones that want our business, that health insurance are gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse. So it's very surprising.
It is there. It may be a settling of the market though.
Yeah.
They were swinging
After COVID.
double digits, sometimes 20% increases over the last few years. So the market might just be settling.
Right.
So remember this moment in a year.
Cherish.
Yes, exactly.
You may never see it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you have a question?
I do have a question. Oh, you have a question.
I just did, this doesn't go to full. This is just.
I don't think so.
Everybody around us.
Wait.
So we offer an HSA with
Yeah.
our high deductible plan.
Mhm.
Do you have any sense for how many of our employees that are on that plan, what percentage of employees that are on that plan take advantage of the HSA?
Well, as far as, well, all employees are automatically,
They're automatically.
they're automatic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those county contributions are made automatically. Great.
Yeah.
And are those just sitting in a bank account, or do the employees have discretion about how those are invested?
It's up to the employee's
Yeah.
discretion. So
Okay.
they get deposits. So we go through Associated Bank. We as the employer make the deposit. If employees want to make additional contributions, they can do that through payroll. But then it's up to the employee after that,
Yeah.
how they choose to hopefully legally spend their HSA money.
Mhm.
And then if they wanted to invest, that's on them. They can work through Associated Bank to do that.
Right.
But the county isn't involved in it.
So they can, even if they don't contribute any of their own,
Correct.
the county contribution is under the employee's control. They can direct Associated to invest in
Yeah.
XYZ instrument and, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Report?
Yes, please.
Okay. So still recruiting for human resource generalist candidate. Do have an interview scheduled for next week. Continued finance director recruitment, as you all know, the application deadline is September 9th, so that will be next week. We had 3 workers' compensation claims in August. Two at Vernon Manor. One of them was lost time in medical. One was lost time, but no medical treatment needed. And then one was at the sheriff's department. That was just for reporting purpose only, no lost time or medical. Any questions on workers' comp or anything?
Do we know anything about the finance director recruitment, or have they said anything?
So I talked to John early last week and they had 9 applicants. They were going to, it's still open until the 9th. But they were going to start doing some Zoom interviews.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So some movement.
Can I ask a quick question about your neighborhood balance when you get to it? I think that's the same balance we've had
It is.
3 months. Is that normal?
I'm waiting on an invoice. I have to pay it. They're sometimes backlogged on their invoices. So we will get caught up here.
I just happen to know it's like 3 months in a row. It's been the same amount.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, Jason. What do we think about 75,000?
So
Change in
I
3
have put new hires and separation of employment listed below. However, there are people that have accepted offers, but they're just not on the list. So that is where that recruitment. So we do have an accounting specialist for the human services. That was an internal transfer. So an internal employee is going to be taking that position effective 9/16. So there will be backfill for that one. We also hired an accounting specialist too for the health, starting on 9/16, and then a full-time CNA starting at Vernon Manor on 9/16. Otherwise, we've had 13 new hires since the last meeting, listed below. 10 separations of employment since the last meeting. Some of them were seasonal or interns that have left. Nothing crazy otherwise, like mass exodus because of pay or anything historical. So just reasonable reasons. Current employee count is full-time 249, part-time 19, part-time 59, and limited part-time is 85. 412 total. And then these are current posted openings. As far as Vernon Manor goes, we are currently looking for one full-time PM Knox RN or LPN. And then CNAs, we need 2 part-time benefited, 2 on-call day, and 2 on-call PM.
Okay,
What are we currently able to pay our starting CNA person?
The current wage. I want to say it's 20, off the top of my head, 2104, 2140. Give me a second.
It's just that I keep seeing my neighborhood nursing home down the street from my farm always has an ad up in the ditch.
Is administrative assistant 2 paid higher than administrative assistant 1?
do we train CNAs?
We have. We, right now they're working with Western to have some come in, but we can't do a training program right now because of our last survey. So the state will not allow us to train CNAs in our facility for at least a year, I believe.
Yes.
I actually think it's 2 years.
A certified nursing assistant minimum is 1970.
That's interesting.
So that would be someone right out of school starting out. Now, if they would work a PM, that would be an additional $2 differential. And then there's also I think it's $225 or $250 if they work night. They work weekends. That's another additional $2 on top of that.
Competitive.
Not including incentive. There's also incentive
How
pay.
are we moving along with the management company?
That'll be part of my report.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you said because of our most recent survey.
So our survey last August, we had an issue that as part of the citation that was issued from the state, they basically don't allow you to do a CNA training program.
For a calendar year.
First, yeah, it's a year or it's 2 years. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to reference the actual citation.
Has that issue been remediated?
Yes.
It never came to a monetary fine.
Yes, it did.
We did.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
How much was that? Was I here? Where am I right now?
You're in Viroqua?
13,000 plus about 55,000 in lost Medicare reimbursement.
Yes. Maybe.
Oh,
Okay,
on a
let's
lighter
move on
note.
to other things.
So that is all I have, unless you have any questions
Okay.
about current positions openings.
Any questions for Tricia regarding her report or any openings or any other questions? No, not hearing any. Okay, thanks, Tricia.
Thank you.
I have IT next. Connor, you coming over?
Sure.
Department and Health Debt Report.
Actually, I'm gonna open for you this time.
This building must be the building we're not talking about.
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty. Status update on the IT department. For the month of August, we've had 344 tickets open. In comparison, in July, we had 371. So it's a little bit lower, but as expected, because we did go live with the new phone system in July. In comparison, where we stack up year to date in 2023 in August, we had 259. So we do have a significant uptick in tickets open, but we have been seeing an uptick throughout 2024 as well. Just a lot of projects from the fire and our ecosystem and architecture of the county is ever so nested in the IT infrastructure. Oops. Helped us by category. 68.8% sat in the software related category. 10.3 were hardware. 9.5 were phone related. 8.3 employment, and uncategorized sat at 3.2. We did have 2 office moves / relocations in August. No new office creations. Those criteria on those two are a little gray, but we considered those as office moves instead of new offices. Open tickets, our help desk health meter is in good standing. We have 6.6% open tickets, which if I pull up my metrics here, that's 23 outstanding that were opened in August that we're still working through. But we do have 93.4% of those closed. Our 2024 device replacement progress is well on its way. We have 36 out of the 60 devices implemented. Chris is working diligently now that we are through the phone system transition. We did a realignment of tasks, and this is the forefront of a few of our staff members' docket for the next 2 months here to get those remaining devices implemented. Phishing attempts in the month of August, we had 15 failed simulated phishing attempts. We had 278 reported, which is great to see as always. And we stimulated and sent out to staff 708 attempts there.
Got Phil this morning.
It'll be in the September.
Throwing him under the bus, not even here.
Failures by location this is what the metrics pan out to be in August. So we have kind of a smattering throughout all of our locations here, but
Is it both you?
You took it very guilty.
I ain't talking.
I think we need to get a badge that we wear at the board meeting. Anytime we're. Yes.
Thank you for this.
Good laugh.
Wait till it's you, right, Dave?
Oh, my tricky.
sometimes you have to learn the hard way. That's the best way to learn.
Yeah. At least Dave's using his computer.
Yeah, at least he's turning it on.
Yeah.
On the bright side, our mail flow in August was surprisingly positive. All of those green metrics on the left hand is really out of the ordinary because it shows that we've had a decrease in malicious intent emails. We have had a large uptick in email account takeovers, so spoofing attempts, but all the other ones are green, lower metrics there, which is good to see.
Attempts. We didn't have somebody's email actually get hacked, have we?
No, those are folks that are spoofing other folks internally in the organization that we got held in quarantine. Happens all the time, but more so, in a typical organization, your C-suite executives are spoofed the most. So any department heads, CASI board members are the forefront of those spoofing attempts. But then election years, you have spoofing attempts for various different things, and then people really like to try to get to change payroll and accounting details. So that is always prevalent, no matter what time of year it is. Other metrics, we have 0 devices out for repair right now, which is good. And then a cumulative system uptime, we are sitting at, in the month of August, 96.913. So that is a little bit favorable from the last time I reported. That is all I have for help desk metrics.
Connor, on that previous slide with all the green arrows,
Yes.
can you attribute that to anything internally or externally, or is it just kind of lucky month?
It's really luck of the draw, but we do act pretty, vigilantly on any of those spoofing attempts, and anything or any of the malicious links, malicious actors. I've recently established a much better relationship with different threat agencies, threat intelligence agencies as well. And so we're continually ingesting that data and then hardening our defenses better than we have ever have in the past.
Gotcha.
Simply because their technology has also improved, that they're not just looking at mail flow in certain organizations, they're looking at nationwide and globally now. And it's, reflecting some of that positively, but otherwise it's, luck of the draw. Just
Sure.
malicious actors need a day off too.
The .gov, isn't that supposed to be, if I would go to VernonCountyWI.gov, isn't that supposed to take me to our website?
It does. Yeah, correct.
So it isn't working for me.
Internally,
Like if I just type that into my computer, I get like it's blocked out.
we can take a look at that, but internally you have to make sure to put www. If you haven't.
All right, I'll try that. But I have tested like the .gov email, and that's been working.
Okay.
Mine, like right now, I just looked at it. It's still VernonCounty.org.
Well, it will be.
Okay.
Yep.
You were just trying to see.
But if you type in the VernonCountyWI.gov, it should also take you to VernonCounty.org right now.
Got it.
That's that alias thing we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We'll just touch on that.
But it wasn't
Talking on that, but
Yeah, you're not getting it either. No. But did you do www.VernonCountyWI.gov?
it's not resolving.
Browser should handle that for me.
Should.
IP address could not be found.
I was just trying to, I don't even remember what
Wait.
department head I was talking to
I might
about,
have-
like,
hang on.
doing it that way, because that's what we should be doing now. And then we got blocked out.
Okay. I do see what you're seeing, so
Yeah.
I will.
Oh, the
We'll
intrusion
address that.
prevention.
Yep,
access
that's
blocked.
it.
Yeah,
Intrusion prevention.
access blocked. Yeah.
Okay. Another thing.
Email
for the
site,
list.
email site seems to be working, the alias thing, but the website doesn't.
Okay.
Internally.
Internally, yes. Externally, it should
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
tried on my phone number.
Okay,
Something you have blocking it then.
Yes, that might have slipped through the cracks there.
department report.
Department report, not a whole lot to report on, but the phone system has now been fully transitioned. Staff have acclimated well to that, so that is going well. We will see a cost savings with that as well. We are working on, as we discussed briefly, our .gov transition as well currently. A lot of the pre-aliasing has been completed, so folks can email us to our .gov email addresses and navigate to our .gov public-facing URLs, whether that be the website or any other services we host, GIS, TTEC, Fiddler, GCS, anything like that is now accessible. I will be releasing a statement out to all staff internally here, probably today or tomorrow, notifying that they should start to acclimate and use that for their future accounts that they set up, start to transition their current accounts, as well as put like a little disclaimer or notification on their email signature stating that Vernon County is soon to move to .gov. And we'll publicize that when we're closer to the date. In correlation to that, I'm also working on our website redesign process. Is going well. We're in phase 6 out of 8 right now. And really see the light at the end of the tunnel currently. We're in the content migration stage, so moving all the content from our current site to our new site that we will stand up and publish.
Did that start yet?
It not completely. I mean, the framework is there.
You're gonna let us know when it starts though, right?
I will, yeah, internally. And then we will do more of a quality assurance after that phase is complete, internally with our internal website committee. And then we'll kind of phase that throughout the organization, make sure that department heads have all the information that they see suitable on the site. And then we'll be ready to go live and cut over with the news for the new year. We're trying to correlate that all together, and the .gov, the website redesign, as well as the rebranding efforts
So it'll be after election time.
after election.
Didn't want to like stress you out. That would be a lot.
Yeah, well, I mainly need it for the results part.
Right. I'm just let all the election stuff flow through and then do that.
Yeah, no
Because
changes.
people
will
are going to be
occur.
checking things and it would just, timing's going to be important.
I mean, some counties actually transmit data, but we don't.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use it for that. It's just for the report and notices.
Mm-hmm.
And like a few folks have touched on, we have pre-aliased everything right now, so everything is backwards compatible, so to speak.
Sure.
That you can access our .gov domain, but it redirects you to the .org. Once we go live, we'll do the formality process of switching everything to the .gov, and then it'll be post-aliased, where everything, if someone tries to access the .org URLs, it'll redirect them to the .gov for 1 year.
Sure. Okay.
Other than that, budgets and the auditing season for me. So got CGIS audits and state audits and a few different other audits, but other than that, things are going as expected.
Thank you. Any questions for Connor on his report?
Remarkable job.
Thank you, Dave, as always.
It's impressive.
Thank you all.
Nice.
Wait, during, I don't think you're going anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Electronic recording of Teams meeting.
So I will request if we could put a pin in that or
Okay.
formally postpone that. I am working with a few different other municipalities and counties in communication to see what they do, how they handle the situation, as well as working through my own independent research on costing, on the different options there.
Okay.
I feel like I would have a more holistic data to in October if we can postpone it to
No problem. Thanks for doing that work.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Yes,
Can I request a short break?
sure. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna really try for 5. Actually,
I don't know who those.
Yeah, you are gonna ask.
Oh, yeah.
Of course he is.
I'm expecting it.
Remember we went to a town association meeting down in
We're
ABR?
We're live.
Calling the meeting back to order.
Half an old
Next up is
40 million to fix our dams.
Mhm.
Then
We-
back to the clerk's office.
It can't be brought to order.
legal and policy. Nikki, do you have any updates on county legal matters that you want to offer?
So I already updated you on that eviction. That would have been one thing that I probably raised. And then aside from that, just very briefly, I don't want to go into details at this time. I've been working with zoning and sanitation in regards to our Amish communities in the county and gaining compliance with our private on-site wastewater treatment system regulations that are grounded in not just our local code, but mandated by the state through various statutes. We're tasked, namely our zoning and sanitation department, with enforcement as an agent of the state. There's a balancing act that necessarily must be struck with our Amish community members, if you will, as related to religious freedoms. So we are navigating through that process. I just want you guys to be aware that we are navigating through that process to honor and respect their constitutional rights to religious freedom, coupled with the state requirements on these wastewater treatment systems. So feel free to come to me if you want details. It's going to be a lengthy process. Right now, our county has reached out to the state department that is tasked with managing and governing these systems, seeking guidance as a result of federal Supreme Court law that came down somewhat recently from a Minnesota case that really makes it clear that these regulations have to be very narrowly and specifically tailored as applied to our Amish communities. So we're working with those constitutional mandates that come from SCOTUS, from the Supreme Court, and tells us what we can't do and what they expect us to do. And the state is appreciating that this is a matter of statewide concern and is telling us that they want us to hold off on enforcement for now, which we'll do. We're working with the state ultimately to get guidance on how best to proceed going forward. And that's going to take some time, particularly given the elections coming up and the potential change in administration. So stand by, and if you want details, feel free to come to me anytime. But just be aware that that is an issue that's out there that we're working through.
Do you by chance know how many Amish systems we're looking at?
Oh, maybe roughly, but I don't want to go into those details yet, in part because I don't have those numbers specifically, the department does.
Okay.
But also because of the nature of the litigation, we'll hold off on speaking of specifics. I know your question as to number isn't specifics to the communities involved or the apparent offenders, but yeah, that's what I know for now. Okay.
I know that all the Amish in our township I represent are following the rules to the T with our septic.
Beautiful.
That's great.
Well, they don't get a building permit until they.
And that's a lot of where the county becomes aware of violations is from that process. Inspectors for building permits.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So your zoning and sanitation department does great work though and stays incredibly busy enforcing as they're required to do. So just be aware we're working through that. I think that's it for updates.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Nikki?
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to administration. 2025 department budgets review.
All right, fun stuff. So we're just going to go through these one by one. Gary, did you bring your updated, those numbers we talked about before? You did county fire.
Lauren, do you have what we're going through? Do you have these numbers?
I don't think, you didn't give them to me, did you, Cassie?
Yes, they're in your packet.
At the back.
Okay, yeah, I have them.
Okay, very good. So we'll start with county clerk. We'll have to make an adjustment here. The actual so rental income from the rental of the county farm will be 103,252. So that's where you have the 97,654 listed.
103,252.
Yep. Otherwise, Jerry and I sat down, went over this, looked at actuals for the year, and adjusted a couple down. The county board budget is also included as part of this, as far as what we pay for salaries and per diem. So it's a couple adjustments there. Significant adjustment in the elections line. Obviously, this year with 4 elections, our costs are up significantly. Next year, hopefully at most you have one, two, if you have a primary or not. So that adjusted that down for next year. Otherwise, not much out of the ordinary here. Included some expenses for the county farm, $10,000. Whether we actually use that or not, we'll see. That's mostly for, I think, Mo's talked about.
I think it was just to have some money budgeted in case they wanted to spend some.
But nothing significant to note there. Any questions on?
So why is general property taxes?
Yep.
It's such a difference.
That's mainly that is the election expense.
Okay.
And so knowing that next year,
Yeah, the
or
election stuff
26, we'll go
wasn't
back.
actually included in these 5113 numbers
Okay.
before I got here. And I moved them so that it is. It had its own like 5116 or something.
I see.
Election.
So that's where it's
And
showing.
when you
us a
start,
discrepancy.
we're including the county board and we're including the farm because I voucher this. So.
Okay, thank you.
It just made sense to put them all together.
Cassie, there's a line for transfers out that has no numbers until the 2025 requested. Can you explain that?
Yeah, that's actually just moving that. We have a separate, that 45 account is set up just for county farm. And so that's taking that, the revenue and expense from that and moving it to Fund 10.
Okay, gotcha.
They actually
Transfer out and transfer in.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so you want to just keep going page, okay.
Yep, if that's okay.
Yep.
With everybody. Human resources. Again, not a lot of significant changes here. Our intent will be the funds that we were spending on the pre-employment drug screenings, assuming that's approved by the county board, that we will use those funds for an employee appreciation program. So right now, I'm trying to remember where we put that as a placeholder. I think it's under miscellaneous for the 2,500 as a placeholder for next year. And then drop down that medical expenses line. That's where we're currently expending the pre-employment drug screenings out of, down to 2,000. Obviously, we'll still have some costs there.
Mm-hmm. So did your EAP go up?
The EAP is $20 per employee. It wasn't in the right. That's right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. Bobby had put it in on a different line item.
Okay, so you're just moving money so it's in the right
Yeah.
account. What it should be. Okay.
Another thing to note with these budgets as well, or just about all county departments, the phone expenses will now be moved to IT. So you'll see those expenses come out, but they're not actually coming out. They're just moving to the IT budget, and we'll cover that when we get to the IT budget.
With the salaries line, pretty similar to last year, but if you go back to end of 23,
Yeah.
big change.
So in 2024, we had added the human resources generalist position,
Okay,
which we are looking to fill again.
right.
that was the big change there.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the HR budget?
I was just looking at all of them here, Cassie, on the total levy line in the yellow.
Yep.
Okay, it says actual 2024 was, my eyes are still a little bit blurry from the COVID, and maybe I'm just having trouble seeing here.
149.
We've basically gone from a tax levy of 283.
No, those are actual expenses for the year. So we're still reworking how we do these budget worksheets. So that's not what we actually levied for 24. That's our actual to date for 24.
Okay.
But the requested is 321
Right.
of levy money.
Which
Right.
which one are you looking at?
He's
He's
looking
just
at
looking
here.
at
Human
the
resources.
general right here.
The 2024 revised budget, the 311,430, that was the levy amount for 2024.
Went up 10 grand.
Not the 149. The 149 is year to date.
So you got half a year yet.
Yeah, as year to date as of the end of June. So
Does that make sense?
So the actual for 23 is the only one you have a full year for, which is 282,400.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's gone, basically, it's either the levy request is up 40,000 in 2 years.
Well, we added the human resources generalist position in 2024. So that alone, between
Okay,
fringes
okay.
or wages and fringes was, I think, what, 65, 70,000, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I'm mainly wanting to wrap my head around where these numbers are coming from more so than questioning the numbers, so.
And I think there was something else that got moved out of HR, like wasn't that, part-timer Tammy was being charged to HR, but
Yep.
should be charged to departments.
Yep.
And I see what Lauren's doing. It's a great thing to compare, but there's been so much change in the last couple of years with moving some things into the proper place. Kind of makes
It skews it all.
skews a little
It
bit.
does. And it's been a little difficult tracking things because of
Makes
things
hard.
not being properly coded or in the right department. And so it's a struggle for us compiling the budget too. So I completely am open to any questions there.
Well, in chart of accounts in general, like people put things, make their bet, like every time you have a new person doing it, they make their best intention to put it in the line, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, are we done on HR? Yes, all right, not hearing any more, moving to IT.
IT. All right. You're going to notice IT is going up quite a bit. So part of that is moving the phone out of other budgets into the IT budget. So you can see that line item about halfway down.
$50,000.
Now that's going to be kind of a wait and see kind of thing until we start getting, because we've just transitioned. That's our best estimate, but we're going to see.
Yeah, I can say that countywide, until the phone system transition occurred, we were spending $48,900 a year. And so this is, 50 is a placeholder, and every department budgeted for phones vastly different. It was very challenging for Cassie and I to even hone in on numbers, because the way we expended phone has drastically changed. We were charged for long distance, and then we had a base rate, and then, different departments paid for their section of DID blocks. Other departments paid for the whole building. Some paid for individual lines. It was quite a skew of different allotments there. But
In the salaries line item, if you recall, we did hire Eric in 2024, funds that we did use Ho-Chunk funding that we had allocated for the ERP system. to that, knowing that we would have to levy for that position in 2025. So that's the big difference in the salaries. But another area that really dings us is the software licenses. And they just, I mean, those costs have gone up significantly. When Connor and I were going through those, it's amazing the amount.
70 grand more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tripled since
71
2020.
more. Yeah.
Look at 2020.
It costs. Individual software line items are anywhere between 8 and 16% difference. And it's insane. And our Microsoft alone has gone up, thousands of dollars, which is a drop in the bucket compared to comparatively of what we're spending at Microsoft. But I mean,
And doesn't that, like, every computer needs a license, right?
it's pretty complex, Jerry, but
I was saying,
every
like,
computer needs a license, every user needs a license,
that's what I kind of meant, like every time we add a staff or every time, if a county board member decides to get a county issued, whatever, each time we add, it costs more money.
Well, I
email needs a
think,
license.
and I just, everything, I mean, I look at that and what has happened in just 4 terms. It's just like crazy.
Well, and some of it is reevaluating
Oh,
the
for
cost of
sure.
doing business because
Everything runs
it's all
on a
changed.
system, yeah.
Even for everything's more automated. So,
I should also note that this is getting the IT staff to a 40-hour work week as well.
Mhm.
And that's something.
That's in the salaries line,
Yeah.
presumably.
are you doing that across the board?
Where we can.
Where you can?
Yeah. There's some departments where it's just like one person who isn't. And so those certainly, but for example, like the health department works a 75-hour. And they're all at 75 hours. And so to transition that, we just don't have the levy to do that. And that's not something that department necessarily wants either. So as we can, obviously as we have new hires, they're starting at the 40-hour work week. But there's a significant amount of work for the IT department. And so recognizing that,
Oh, for sure.
there's definitely justification to take that department to a 40-hour work week.
Well, and if you look at the 20 actual total expenses and then different things that have been added into, I mean, it's tripled just about, but different things have moved into there that weren't there before.
A lot of centralization
Right.
has taken place as well.
Lauren?
Did you say that all the phone bills and stuff are now being through the IT?
Yes, with the exception of our enterprise funds.
Which is Vernon Manor and Solid Waste.
Correct.
So they have their own, what was the reasoning behind that? Because they used to, I know in Solid Waste, we didn't have a line item for phone and now we do. So what
No,
was the
they
reason?
had a line item for phone before, Lauren.
Okay.
So the enterprise fund was solid waste and
Vernon Manor. Yeah.
And the farm is that other one.
Yeah. We don't charge the farm.
We don't have a phone out on the farm though.
cool.
Okay, anything more with IT? So buildings and facilities?
Not a ton of changes there. We've got
Reduction.
what?
A reduction.
So we're picking up our own garbage.
Also in the category of funky. Funky.
Funky.
We've got 75,000 set aside for capital. I believe that is for the window replacement at the Erlinson building. We've just been kind of doing a few a year. So to try and get that project done.
Oh yeah, the screens are all ripped. It looks pretty trashy out there.
Yeah, the windows are rough out there. Yeah. No disagreement here. But otherwise, that one's pretty straightforward.
All right. Nope.
And
Okay, what is up next? Let's see. Clerk council.
actuals for the year to ascertain next year's budget number.
Holy moly.
And
Just,
we budgeted 130,000 for 2025.
Any questions for that? All right, moving on to Gen Gov.
All right, the Gen Gov one is not fun, and Holly and I are working on renaming some of these accounts. There's nothing I dislike more than a line that says bills, no line detail. So you're going to have a lot of them. So I'm just going to start up top with the revenue. So that 11,800 is dog licenses, and then the miscellaneous general revenue, we did add the opioid in there. So that's, we expect $71,102 next year from the opioid settlement. Moving down to the expenses, we give $50,000 a year to the Historical Society. Changed our allocations a little bit for our audit, so drop that down. The 12,500 is to Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission. 4,000 is to Maximus. That's a cost allocation reporting that we're required to do. The 30,000 is for care veterans grave, and that's some graves, and that's actually something we turn around and apportion out on the tax bills, and then the same with the libraries. So that 479, 249 isn't a cost that's actually absorbed by the county. We also give Winding Rivers operations an additional $10,479.
wait, can you spend just another second on
Yes.
that library?
Yes. So the libraries provide us with a report annually, and it's based on, I think it's called Wisconsin Act 420. It's based on patronage and where those patrons come from and the amount of items that are circulated. And so we take 70% of that cost, or they take 70% of the cost, goes on to the tax levy. But it doesn't count towards our levy limits or anything like that. We just basically take that amount, apportion it out on the tax bills, and then we remit that money to the library.
But municipalities that fund their own library can be exempt from that
Correct.
levy amount.
With the cities like Brooklyn West, we have their own libraries, they'd be exempt.
Coon Valley, they filed to be exempt because they provide enough financial support for their own library to exempt them from this levy sharing to provide it for everybody.
But they use Winding Rivers.
We didn't create the form. I'm just telling you how it works.
We just collect the money and give it back to them, basically.
Okay.
And we learned a lot about this process this spring when we got a letter saying, "Where's our money?"
They have to provide a certain amount of financial support to their own library to be exempt. It's not like they can just say, "Oh, we have a library, we don't pay for it, but we want to be exempt." They have to provide support.
But this doesn't include the public schools, right?
This has nothing to do with the schools.
No, but the schools do use Winding Rivers.
That's fine.
Funky.
They deliver everywhere.
We also give Winding Rivers $10,479 for their operations, and we give them $1,500 a year for their vehicle expense. That is on our levy. That isn't part of the Act 420. We give $5,000 a year to the Egg Society. The $6,436 is our county's association dues. Then, yeah, below you'll just see a reflection of the expense piece of those revenues above. So the 11,000 for the dog, 100,000, that's our estimated for insurance. And if you look at, that's one of those, if you look back at prior years, it's a mess. But I can assure you, I feel comfortable with that number.
So what insurance are you talking about? Like general liability?
Yeah, liability, and then our property insurance
Okay.
as well. And then below we have the interest on notes, and then our principal payments for our debt are listed out there as well.
Why did the interest go up so much?
Yeah.
That's another one that I'm not sure was listed properly. But I can assure you that those amounts are correct for next year. I don't honestly, Jerry, I don't think they were broken out, because if you look, like this was 1.9 million. I'm assuming the interest, we had only listed out separate interest for one of the loans. I don't know why, but it was included in the principal payment.
Right.
In the principal.
Yeah.
Right. So our principal's gone down quite a bit. But that interest is now.
Yeah, that's how it should be reflected in your budget. It should be reflected as the principal and the
But I
interest.
think there was something about that with the bonding that we
It
were.
was,
making payments.
the bond
And the
interest
bonding
was
company
out
wasn't giving
separate.
us
Mhm.
like a breakdown, so that the auditors or somebody created a breakdown.
Yeah, the bond interest, that was the only one that was broken out.
Yeah, there was something about them. Yeah.
So the sheriff's department's paid now, right? Paid off that funds?
Not yet.
No.
Soon.
Next year.
One more payment. Yeah, I think that one's in 20.
We're gonna.
There's the radio tower and there's
Helicopters.
the sheriff's department, and I get them confused. I know one's paid off this year and one's next year, but I can't remember which is which. I've got it on my dad's schedule. It's just, I can never keep them straight.
Cool.
Any questions on the general government budget?
Cassie, who is the Ag Society?
What, fair?
Vernon County Fair.
Vernon County Fair. Yeah,
Okay.
we do an annual contribution.
The fair board or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then,
Okay, administration budget.
not a lot of changes there. I dropped down a few of the expenses that I know. You'll see your actuals in 23. For those of you that are new to the board, your previous administrator was paid through 23. So that's why those salary expenses were so high.
I've gotten over that.
Okay.
That's growth. Good job.
Must be the hat.
All right, any questions on these budget proposals? Is this just an inform? Do we need to approve them to go to what?
They're going to go to finance. It's more just a review at the committee level, or if you had any objections to anything or anything of that sort.
I personally really like this format. I feel more informed in the budget than I have
That's good.
versus having to dig for it. That's my opinion.
Should there be some kind of action for them to move it to finance, or is it just?
I don't know how we've been doing it. I mean, I'm fine if you want to make a motion, move it to finance.
Motion to move to finance.
There you go.
Second.
All in favor of moving these proposed budgets to finance, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There we go. Okay, administrative coordinators report.
All right, be pretty short. I've been working with BSJ's insurance carrier to assess our current coverage for the property liability and workers' comp insurance. We'll work to incorporate those items in the proposed agreement. So doing an assessment of ours compared to theirs, there's a lot to consider when we look at this agreement. I know everybody wants it to happen now, but we want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row and that we're taking everything into account before we bring a proposed agreement to the committee. So definitely still working, definitely still in communication with them. There's just a lot to consider.
Is it moving in a positive?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything. I mean, everything's good. It's just, there's things that need to be addressed.
What if you only have one duck?
Either
Going.
to keep it growing.
Yeah. So I get out of line.
Only having one duck. The budget process has been taking up most of my time lately. That's why my report is so short, but that's what's going on in my world.
I'm sorry, what was that point?
Budget. I've been busy with budget.
Yours is good.
We'll have the proposed budget to finance committee on the 17th. Today wraps up our community meetings to review our progress on the comprehensive plan. So those of you that don't have plans this afternoon, at 2:00 and at 6:00 at the Wheatland Town Hall. will be the last of those sessions.
How have they been going?
I haven't been there, but Charlie's been there.
I will say, I went to one.
Went to one too.
It is unbelievably low.
But
It's crazy.
there's been a lot of good discussion. People that do come or vocal and ask questions. That part of it. I think Westby, we had Mary.
It's a get out of jail free card.
That's it.
See that?
Summer's tough.
I wish there was more, but I don't know what we're gonna do to get people to come.
Yeah.
Pass the plan, then they'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have an issue.
I know, that's what I
And
mean.
that's been part of the
Right.
discussion is, what we're looking at is, you can't wait until you have an issue and then expect something to be done.
Yeah.
We need to- Thinking that's just, people are.
So the final ones are again today.
Today at 2 and 6 at Tonylin. I will be there for the 2 o'clock. So if anybody wants to come hang out.
I got an appointment then, but I'm thinking I might go to the 6th.
Cassie, what did you, before you talking about the comprehensive plan, what did you mention?
Budget.
Oh, you mentioned it would be going to finance on the 17th.
Yeah.
But some home committees will not have, like, human services.
Human Services is the only one.
The only one.
And so we'll still do a review at Human Services. And I talked to Jill about this too. And John and Kay are on my finance committee.
Okay,
So we'll still have a budget discussion on for the home committee.
and so will there,
That's the part
And I-
that's frustrating.
I don't know how, if this is agenda or not, but will there still be an opportunity for that home committee to, adjust? if-
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll have to make some significant adjustments. I
Okay.
know our budget timeline has me bringing a preliminary budget to the board in September, and that's not going to happen. And the
Okay.
finance committee understands that. At least I think they understand that.
Thank you.
We might have some special sessions. I don't know. We'll see. And then,
There is a certain amount of high emergency though, maybe not September, but.
oh yeah, no,
Apportionments have to get.
we have to, yeah, we have statutory requirements. We have to hold a public hearing in November. I mean, there's definitely a timeline involved with the budget.
Yeah. Nice bills have to get for.
Yep. And then,
Go ahead.
okay. And as a reminder, the finance director position posting closes on September 9th. This committee will meet at 1 o'clock on the 19th to review and select finalists, and interviews will take place on September 30th. Department heads have been invited to participate in the interview process on the 30th as well.
So for us, we have a special meeting set up on the 17th. We talked about that.
17th or 19th.
19th.
Well,
17th for
17th
finance.
for finance for the
Mhm.
buildings. And then we have another one on the 19th after the county board meeting. And we have said that will be 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
And then,
Wait. On September 19th, we are meeting at 1.
Yep.
yes,
So elect finalists.
All right, just let
They'll
me,
be online, right? Posted, yeah.
and then,
at 1.
and
I have something I could move if I'm needed. Am I needed for the 1 o'clock?
I don't.
No,
think
we're just
so.
going to select finalists for the finance director position.
Perfect.
And then the 30th is, we've slotted all day, 9:30 to 4:30.
That's what they asked us to
Yeah.
do, but it depends on how many finalists we have.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I
Yeah.
have. And then that's all we have slotted, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. So our hope then is to have an offer extended, and for someone to be in that position at the beginning of November. Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Have you applied yet?
No,
You have to.
He's waiting to see if Kamala's fighting. He's being respectful. He doesn't want to waste our time.
I got some things going on.
Yeah, I understand.
That concludes my report.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Cassie?
BVD, bigger and better deal, right?
Okay, so
I would just like to say thank you again for doing double duty, especially during budgeting, because that's a huge part in doing your position too. So thank you.
Thank you. I just keep thinking like November. We'll just get through to November.
I
We just
know,
do the
get
budget,
there.
like we'll get there.
I know you keep seeing a light out there, and I am just very hopeful with 9. have 3 at least to interview.
Me too.
Okay, items for future meetings. I have moving buildings and facilities topics and then the team's discussion. Anything else?
I don't have anything, but I do have a Secret Service card. And I've called him 3 times already.
Oh, Lord.
Today?
You're trying to
He's
get,
gonna block you.
he's trying to get on their list now.
He's on their list.
Okay, well, I don't know what to do with that, but I think we're good with the agenda item for future meetings.
If we have time, I may bring the neighborhood family clinic thing, but
Okay.
that might not be till November. Just
Okay.
depends.
The list of services.
Yeah.
So I have next meeting confirmation of October 2nd, 9:30 a.m.
I'm good with that.
Great. Could I get a motion to
Motion.
adjourn? Dave?
Can I just,
Yeah.
I'll second that, but, future agenda will presumably be conversation about our interviews as well. Yes, because that'll be right after the interview date.
I think
I think we're
Make a
gonna
decision
Separate.
that day.
on that day.
On the 30th,
That's my understanding.
potentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
But if not, we can, then yes.
gotcha.
I hope everybody can at least have a chance to get up to Westby tomorrow and see the massive display of democracy that's going to take place.
I was gonna have something in my throat.
Okay, now let's talk
Okay.
about where
I
you
I
get
do have a
to
question.
sit on your
about this on the
property.
30th. So if the potential exists that we may need a closed session on the 2nd to further discuss choices of the 30th, it would probably have to be put on the agenda before
Yeah.
we get it posted. There has to be time to get these agendas.
Yeah.
posted.
Yeah.
So I would make a note to put it on there. If we don't, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Right.
Smart.
Okay.
Because that's only
Good job.
3 days.
Here, I'll say anything with that.
Okay, I'll take a picture of this when I'm done.
Let's adjourn.
You got a motion in a second.
And Nikita.
We have a motion in a second.
He was a pretty cool guy.
Okay, I am gonna call,
All of it.
Just
all in favor of leaving. Signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye.